And
Watch the Fling
one.
Show live on YouTube Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Central Time.
Talk to me, talk to me. Little talk can set us free. It's okay, it's alright. It's okay to shine your light. Talk to me, talk to me. It's okay, it's alright. It's okay to shine your light. Talk to me, talk to me. Talk to me, we'll be alright. Talk to me. Talk to me. The Fling Show. The Fling Show. Y'all wanna know about the mystery of flight. You wanna hear about the scene done right. So kill your TV and just come outside. We're gonna take you on a beautiful ride. The Fling Show. The Fling Show. The Fling Show. The Fling Show. The Fling Show.
Well, welcome to the show, folks. Welcome to the Fling Show tonight. My name is Chris McClung. I'm one of your co-hosts, and my other co-host, Mr. David Himmeline, will be along in just one moment, right after we give thanks to our sponsor, Lone Star Disc. They do everything for us here at the show. We love their plastic. We go out and play with their plastic. We throw their plastic, and we support their plastic. And man, do they have some great plastic out there. So once again, shout out to our sponsor, Lone Star Disc, for everything that you've always done for the Fling Show, and thank you for your support. Now, my goodness gracious, my head was spinning. I had so many backdrops, so many things that I was trying to get all my ducks in a row. Still a little bit confusing, but we'll see if we can do it. But before then, we need to bring on my other co-host here, Mr. David Himmeline. Dave, how you doing this evening, sir?
The Fling Show. Hey, that was fun.
The Fling Show, you like that one, huh?
Yeah, and the double tree hit is always good. It may be a staple. It may be like Mikey in the rowboat.
You know what? I might have to do that. You're right. Now, that brings us to the show. And before we get on to the meats and potatoes of what we typically talk about in our show, I have a question for you, Mr. David Himmeline, regarding our show. We're going to see how smart you are about the Fling Show, something that you helped create and start. You ready for this one? You ready to read it?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Go.
Can you guess? We got to let me talk because now I can't even read it. Can you guess how many shows we have had? A, 135. B, 140. C, 175. And D, 190. Within those four choices is the correct answer.
Okay.
What do you think it is?
I have to go with last week. We're like creatures of habit. So I'm thinking maybe you repeated the pattern. You hit me with the big number first. So I'm going 190. I'm going with D.
190. Well, I hate to burst your bubble, but you're wrong on this one.
It's
but
175, isn't it?
100.
I was going to say that.
75th episode. Now, here's the nut for a little bonus points. Who was our first interview? April 19th of 2020. I will give you a hint. It was not a couple.
Let's see. It's not a multiple choice, huh? Okay.
Not on this one.
Dang it.
But if you'd like, I can still give you one more hint.
See. Oh, man. Good one. Okay, one hint.
It is a female.
Mm-hmm. That would be
Meredith.
Correct.
I was thinking it was a female. I was kind of sure about that.
You nailed it. And just for chagrins, who was the second interview, which was a couple, which is kind of the reason why I backed that out.
That would be Courtney.
Correct.
Courtney and
Trevor.
Trevor, yeah.
That was actually 2 days later. They were on the 21st. We had the 19th and the 21st. Little Fling Show history for you folks there. I was kind of amazed, though, when I looked at it, 175 episodes of the Fling Show. This doesn't include the match plays. This doesn't include all that. This is just Fling Show episodes.
Right.
Well, congratulations, partner. Didn't know we were going to get that long. So next big goal is 25 more, which I don't know if that'll get us to the end of the year, but it'll be pretty close. We'll have 200 episodes. We'll have to do something special for that one.
Right on.
All right.
Nice.
Now,
work.
Did you get to watch this weekend's Maple Hill? So as you explain what you got to see, I'm going to pull up some things for people to look at in you as well. So what were your thoughts on this weekend's Maple Hill?
Well, it started off by watching some of the press conferences they post on the Disc Golf Network, and picked up Steve Dodge right away. Got his I don't know what his affiliation is with the Pro Tour now, whatever, but I know he pretty much made Maple Hill, or just helped it, and then he visualized the whole Pro Tour and all that stuff came from Steve Dodge. So it was really interesting hearing him talk. I loved, and he set the tone for me watching. As they were talking about par fives, and he said, yeah, that's when I go get my ice cream, because they're boring. And so if you notice, it was exciting, it's just like holes like that are reachable, I mean, it's tough, it's a tough course. It's lined with OB everywhere, but there are a lot of par threes, and or not, I guess not a lot, but I mean, it's interesting to see them hit lines that you can kind of visualize. I think it was a great display for disc golf. The other thought I had was sort of my comparison. No one's really brought it up, but like Tom Watson, remember it was a few years back when it was at the U.S. Open, I think, and he just all of a sudden burst on and had the lead going even into the final round. I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
So this whole Matty O thing is like, and everybody was celebrating it. Everybody was talking about it, same with the Matty O thing, people's social just went crazy. People that I follow that are, on the tour, stuff like that. Everybody had their Matty O story. And that was, I mean, it was just a treat, a treat to watch such a great course, historied course. And then just to watch the disc golf world erupt when he took it home, and decidedly 4 strokes, on that course. That one's notorious for playoffs and coming down to the final 18, and he just gets up there and just does his thing, So my thoughts on that are the Matty O thing, or like he's that guy that's hanging out at pickup dubs. He has that kind of vibe to him, he's probably like that with his friends, and it's just really cool to see him finally get the big win, which, in a lot of people's opinion is the other major, should be a major.
With that course, I completely agree with you. That was one thing that I really enjoyed about watching this disc golf tournament, because they have holes that are not only separators, but there are also holes later on, and especially later on that back nine, that these guys aren't out of it. There are trees everywhere. There are problems and concerns everywhere on that back nine. It was wonderful to see. I don't like to say that I like to watch disc golfers struggle, but I do like to watch them with pinpoint accuracy. And what you got to see with Matty at the end is, I've got some video for us to watch in just a little while, is that he really took advantage after hole 15. And then we'll kind of watch the video. I don't want to get into that, but, because it was a battle I mean, it was a battle all the way until right about then. And then there were just a couple mistakes that were made that separated, where one gets a birdie and one gets a bogey, and that 2-shot swing just flipped the script. And it was just, I love to see golf like that. I love to see golf where they're shooting down those tight lines. Now, I thought that was a little bit of struggle for Jomez and for the Disc Golf Pro Tour guys when they're filming it, because sometimes they'll get lost is when they're at the catch cam, they let it go from the box. And then with all those trees, it's just that guy in the catch cam, I kind of felt for him. He's just trying to pick where that disc is coming through. And then when it hits a tree, no time to really get back to see it fall down for us to kind of understand where that shot fell. So I kind of felt for not only the camera guys, but I also felt for the play-by-play, because obviously there were some shots to where it's just like, oh my gosh, where'd that disc go? You know, you just didn't know. But that to me was also the fun part of it, because there's where the trouble came, right? That's where there was like, oh my goodness. And then some of them just had some of the most miraculous upshots. And I just loved it. I had such a good time watching not only that, the FPO. I mean, what'd you think? I don't know if you got to watch that, but seeing Tatar kind of implode something I had not seen before myself, you know, watching a tournament where there's so much at stake and shot needs to be made. And then King just, you know, Elaine King just hitting some of those monster putts. Once again, birdie versus bogey, flipped the script right at the end, hole 15. She took off right after that. What were your thoughts on the FPO?
Well, my first thought is she didn't want to jump in that lake. I could tell. She didn't want to have anything to do with that. Did you notice? She's out. I'm out. I'm in. I'm out. I did the thing. And that's her personality. You know, it's like, okay, here's my after the tournament interview, whatever. she's really dry, and it's interesting to watch. Before we started this show tonight, I caught a glimpse of a shot of her putting. It was a silhouette, one of those missiles that she threw went in, and I thought it was eagle. I watched the whole form, everything, and I thought I was watching eagle, and then I was walking upstairs and I was like, no, that was Haley, you know, her form, you know, and she's, you know, just on point, as you know, and she's got her game designed to last. You know, she'll be up there fighting with Tatar a lot.
That putting was amazing. I mean, and from distance too. I mean, a couple of those, I know as a player to sit there with that type of pressure, knowing that those other holes are still coming, and to see her drain. I mean, a couple of them were at least in that 55, 65 foot range.
That's just effortless. You know, it does remind me of eagle, just kind of a little flick, you know, or Gannon Burr, you know, it's just, I think she's watched some video. It looks good.
Man, it looked great. I had a good time. Now another thing that did you realize how many aces were thrown in the MPO field?
No.
3, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And I think that's probably typical of this course, you know.
And one of them was on the card in which Matty O was playing on in that final round. Gossage, was that? No, not Gossage, the other kid. We'll see him in just a second. Anyway, he hits it. I've got it actually on here. He aced hole number. What did he get? Anyway, he aced a hole. And then what was really funny about it is the announcers had said, well, guess what? Somebody else has aced a hole. And guess who that somebody else was, Hemi? I'll give you a simple, easy one. He's Lone Star Disc. Nico LaCastro.
Oh, Nico, yeah, I heard.
So that. Nico not only hits one ace during round 1, he hit hole 4, but then in round 4 he hits another ace on hole 13. So Nico hits 2 aces in that tournament.
Wow, I wonder what those pay. You know, it's always kind of like the thing to do, local tournaments. I wonder if those things pay like that too.
And see, here's kind of my point to this, though, is that an opportunity like that where aces are hit in such a big profile tournament, if you were to play golf regular golf. Every ace that's hit, it's being recorded. Someone has recorded that shot going in, right? But we miss it. And that's where I kind of getting to with these groups now. Now, it was nice that we had the chase card being filmed this time, obviously for obvious reasons, because it ended up winning the tournament, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of neat that interaction that Lazat had at the end, kind of knowing what he needed because he knew what Matteo had already done, right? So that's kind of what he chose some shots he probably wouldn't have thrown, which made him finish a little lower than he should have, but all because he was trying to win. But that kind of goes to that my thing about where I think the next evolution of our sport is I think that we miss a lot of really good golf and a lot of really good shots because we're still limited to that last card and sometimes the chase card, you know, so we don't have any video of those aces. And that's where it comes into what I love about what you wanted to do. You know, that thought where not a TikTok thing, but it's an app where you can be there, you can film it, you can post it real time right then for everyone to see. And I think those are golden opportunities in which the Disc Golf Pro Tour may be missing, where the fan can interact and catch those shots because they just happen to be out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the trend coming from the Pro Tour is that's not going to happen. You know, it's like they don't want you filming that. They don't want you taking your footage, probably. I'm not sure, though. I mean, do you know anything about the specifics? Have we talked
I know
about
that
it
they
before?
don't allow you to do it unless you're unless you're a spectator. Then, I mean, obviously you can film it and you can post it. I mean, there's nothing against that. I don't know if they allow the caddies and things like that, someone who's inside the ropes to be able to film something. But I can't see them being able to control that because why would you want to? Think about the NBA, what they do, where you see these people posting their video of their seat where they're at when someone hits some big historic shot, right? And the crowd's going crazy. I mean, that just builds up, you know, people wanting to go and wanting to see. So why would you want to strip that away when you have maybe instead of the 10 cameras they have out there, now you've exponentially put out, let's just say another 1,000 with your spectators. Why would you not want to do that? It's kind of like that video you sent me with the bumblebees at that one tournament earlier this year. It made it so much fun, you know, where everyone's raucous and you have people dressed up like bumblebees. And that's another thing I loved about Maple Hill. They had that one hole where the kids were running back and forth with the green flags and toss them to each other. I mean, more stuff like that, more fun needs to be put into
No
disc
doubt,
golf.
100%. And that's all Steve Dodge, you know, they call him Mr. 8 or something like that. He created that whole spectator hole and is really pushing that concept. And, you know, it's cool to see it in action. You know, there's one at USDGC, the whole 17 that you'll look forward to. It'll be kind of the same way, but like you said, to your point, it's stuffy. You know, they need to loosen up at USDGC. They need to be screaming at that guy. You know, it's the biggest pressure shot on the whole course. It comes down to the whole 17, and it needs some action. Yeah, let's see some action.
Yes, I completely agree because and that's why sometimes watching the Jomez afters, you know, after it and the highlights, which are great, but if you watch them. And I come from sports entertainment, radio, TV, done sports broadcasting with Barry Warner, Kayla Weld. So I've seen kind of how people manipulate the event and make it into such an extravaganza, right? Whether it's a Super Bowl or with the Masters in golf. And I sometimes feel like with disc golf, they're trying to make every one of their episodes feel like it's the Masters. The music is so somber. The pictures are just picturesque, as if you're walking through the park and the dew's dripping on your face. And, you know, it's da 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 da. And it's just like so grandpa-ish. And I'm old, right? But I still feel like I'm watching my grandfather's golf show.
It needs a facelift. Is that what
you know what I'm saying? And I'm
Yeah.
like, no.
You know, one thing I think would
Bumblebees
help.
running around. You need more of the flag tossers going back and forth. You need more people dressed in a suit that look like a leprechaun. you need these things to get these kids and to get the next generation really involved, because that's what happened with the snowboarding and the BMX biking and stuff like that. They didn't walk out there and the next thing you know, oh, it's just a beautiful day on the slopes and look at the cool weather and do. No, man, they're out there down, beating their drums, flipping around in circles, crowds going crazy, kids taking pictures, them posing. I mean, all those things adds to excitement. And I think that disc golf, they're heading down that path of grandpa golf. I'm telling you, if next time y'all go watch the replays of Joe Mez and go watch the replays of Disc Golf Pro Tour and think about your grandpa. And that's what it sounds like. And it's beautifully orchestrated. It looks great. The shots are beautiful. The music is nice. Don't get me wrong, but they're packaging it like 1978 golf.
Yeah, they're hitting the wrong audience.
Yeah,
because if you're trying to reach the golf audience, is that what you're trying to do? I don't get it.
It's like they're trying to reach the corporate
your
audience. To me, I feel like it's more like, now, granted, look who's case in point. Who's going to be doing the next tournament, the United States Disc Golf Championships that's just coming up here in October. Did you happen to see who the sponsor was for that?
No, I did not.
It's not Innova, it's not Discraft, it's not a manufacturer, it's Barbasol.
Oh yeah. Are you sure? Is it that one?
I'm about to show you here in a second.
Okay.
I'll pull that up with the share
I know
screen, but
they were, all over the place with the Barbasol cans
right
this past weekend.
And so I kind of feel like sometimes they're directing the show towards corporate United States of America. And that's what it just seems like to me. And, a lot of people go, oh, that's the only way you're going to get money. Really? That's how BMX did it. How they get in the Olympics, how those people out there now.
Skateboarders. So what
racing,
do you do?
All those guys, they're not doing the corporate thing.
I think one thing, we watch a lot of extracurricular footage from disc golfers, their social media stuff, or I do. And the personalities are there. If they would just get inside the ropes a little bit, they need to mic somebody, get a mic on a live feed, get several, get a bunch of different feeds, and interview the players, loosen it up. They act like it's a serious game, and it is for those guys. They're trying to make a life out of it. I get that, but I think it needs to loosen up a little bit.
Make it fun, make it exciting, like you said. Like I said, I mean, you get two aces we didn't even get to see. I got to hear about them because they spoke about it. But only one I got to see. And the one I got to see was incredible. Final round. You're on the final card. You're fighting to get in that first spot and you hit an ace. Unfortunately, the rest of his game didn't do so well, but, which I thought was kind of funny. He aced and then didn't get another birdie for like 8 holes.
And the curse of the ace.
Yes, it's one of those funny things.
I did that one time. I had a 4-stroke deficit going into the final round. And I had him by 1 after four holes. So I had 3 birdies and an ace. And I had this guy by 1, and the same thing. I didn't get another birdie. The rest of this was Waterworks, Kansas City. I didn't get another birdie the rest of the round, and ended up getting 3rd. It's the curse of the ace. That happens sometimes.
All right. Well, let me pull up a few of these things that I pulled up for us to go over. First thing I want to kind of go over is the tour qualifying for the Tour Championship. Obviously, this is the FPO. No surprise there, right? Tatar just running away with it. 128 clear of second place Missy Gannon. But as you go down a little further, you see Sarah Hokum at number 9, been on the show, right? Jen Allen, 14. And look who comes right above the cut line. Lisa Vajakis, Lone Star's own, at 17. And actually she needed it as she climbed 70 points during the last round. And she ended up going up 1. So that was definitely huge for her. And as you go down, Deanna Carey, Lone Star Dish just barely misses out at 21st.
Mm.
But then as you go down, as you said, Hemi, some of them automatically qualify. So Texan out of the San Antonio area, Valerie Manejando, she has already qualified because she won Wild,
yeah.
Wild, and Paige Pierce, who I think through injury has not been playing this year. Correct, if I'm not mistaken, right, Hemi? I think she did get injured.
Yeah.
And she because she hadn't really played since the Austin Open.
Yeah, she's not back.
So that's why there's
back.
only, as you see, 18 when there's really 20, because those two other contestants had qualified as well. So that I ask you that I want to ask you this. So if she's not playing Paige Pierce, will they take the next number 19, Julianne Corver? Is that how that will work, or do you know?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I'd say yes, but you'd think they would work that into the cut line.
Right. So now let's look at the
display that.
guys. Here's the guys right here. No, it was up just a second ago. It's going to take me a second. Come on. There we go. No surprise. Heimberg crushing it this year. About 140 clear of second place, Isaac Robinson. Then you see where Lazat, he did go up 3, but Orem passed him at 6. So you finish at top 10 is Colt Redline. But as you go down, you start seeing where are our Lone Star guys. James Conrad there. Paul Macbeth coming in at 23rd. Right.
Yeah,
And then you see at
playing
28, Nico LaCastro finishes at 28. Right behind him, another Lone Star team member, Emerson Keith, at 29. They both qualify. And right on the cut line at 31st, another Texan up there in the San Antonio area, Mason Ford, just squeaks in. So what happened to the other 2 Lone Star guys? As you can see, they fell out even past the cut line, as Paul Ulibarri and Garrett Gerthy both fall short this year. And right behind them, Team Lone Star Disc, Robert Burge and Chandler Kramer just fell 2 spots, didn't jump the 2 spots necessary that they needed to get into that final. But still not a bad year for either one of them. And I think as you go down, there's only one other person who qualified, and that's Parker Welks. And he won the Tour Championships DD Open win, and he'll be your last qualifier.
Yeah, he was at like 10-20, 10-15 rated player that won it.
So were you surprised about anything in the top 20? I was kind of surprised that Macbeth didn't even make top 20 this year. Pretty surprised about that. How about yourself?
Yeah, well, he's been out of the country. He hasn't played most of the stops there. He has a lot of blanks in there. I don't know how the scoring works, but
right. But it's funny. The European ones do count. There's 2 or 3 or actually 5 events over there that count, I believe, was when I was looking them up. But it's still a little convoluted to me. Still have to explain it to me.
It doesn't surprise me because we're in that era. We're in that era where Tiger was in, when you got to the point where you figured he probably wouldn't win, but he might. So we're kind of in that place with Macbeth. And just from what I read and see from his social media, he's busy. He's doing a whole bunch of stuff. The amount of focus it takes to do what?
Did I lose you?
What? Hello. Did you lose me? I think I lost you, Chris. Anyway, the amount of focus that it takes to do what Matty O did.
It's going to be held live on Disc Golf Network. This is the major. Should be exciting. What do you know about this course, Hemi? Have you ever played the Burlington, North Carolina course where the PDGA U.S. Women's Disc Golf Championship is going to be?
No, I have not played that course. Burlington, no. I have no idea what they're playing.
I'll be interested to see what the purse is this year. I know, what was it last year? I believe, what was it, $15,000 or $20,000, something like that?
Yeah, it was outrageous. Yeah.
And so then we finish up. Let's see if I can find the men's Yep. See, there's the U.S. Disc Golf Championship for the men's October 5th through the 8th at Rock Hill, South Carolina. Have you had an opportunity to play that one?
Yes. Yeah, I played that one.
What are your thoughts on that course?
It's the model, and it never disappoints. It's probably the most photogenic of all the tour stops that you'll see in terms of being able to film every hole. And not miss any coverage, upshots included. Doesn't have a lot of tunnel. There are some wooded type holes, but it's got elevation. It's got weather, usually have some wind to deal with, which is what we saw last weekend, which always makes it interesting. Anytime
It changes everything. I love that equalizer.
And especially when it's not a par 5, it's like Steve Dodge said he gets bored when there's a par 5. I get that, you've heard me talk about that before. I'm kind of in that, way of thinking. I know Simon hates it, but yeah. But you got a good mix of par 5. I think there's only, 4, I guess, par 5s at USDGC. It's longer than you think. It's just a campus course. It's probably not that great without all the gold rope, I say probably, I'm definitely not, because they'll take down the hay bales on hole 17. So yeah, there's a lot of charm that goes away just as a regular course. But yeah, from what you'll see on camera, it's the best. It's the model. It's the USDGC. All these great tour stops that you've been watching, that's the way it feels every time at USDGC, and it always has. They've created and they have hundreds of volunteers, just like you're seeing on the tour, and these guys are regulars. They know their job. And you got Mace Man, Golden Rake recipient twice. He's out there, doing his thing, and it's just a spectacle. And the original Fly Mart, that's where it came from. You hear the term Fly Mart, where everybody goes and sets up their disc. USDGC did that long before anybody, and they've got Innova right there, and so they would just stock the place with plastic. But yeah, that was always the draw, was the Fly Mart. And then now it's become this huge area that, back in the day was just an open field. And now it's all
right here. This is the one. Look at that shit. Oh no, that's not the one. I thought that was his ace shot. Who am I thinking? I thought someone hit an ace on this one. That's me not getting it right. Anyway, that's just a beautiful shot right there. 410-foot water carry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. I watched. They had some kind of this back to the thing about making it more exciting. Did you catch the CTP contest?
I did not.
Okay, they had it may have been on that hole even a CTP contest, and it was kind of an interesting format. It wasn't just like a whole bunch of guys get up there and throw, and the guy closest. They did it like tournament, 1-on-1, so you could showcase more shots. And down bombing on that a hole like that. I can't remember if that was the one or not, but anyway, that was exciting. I want to see some more of that.
See, this is what I mean that games. I love is the trees. This hole, and I mean many of them also, how lined they are. And to see the spectators, like right here, I mean, there's no given that you're going to be able to get an up and down from there. I mean, look at all the trees and everything that's in the way. So it was kind of fun. There was times that you saw them uncharacteristically hit an early tree, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've seen this video before on our local courses. So here's a tree, here's a disc. Here's the disc hitting the tree.
Right. But we had talked about, I had asked you if you had seen the Lone Star disc commercial. Were you able to see it this time?
Which one?
This one right here. Have you seen this?
Yeah, it's about the plastic.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
about the plastic, but I
Oh,
think it's
yeah, I've
just so
seen it.
well done. They did a great job with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, it's 3105. Okay, here's the A. Sorry.
Ace. All right.
Here, let me pull up. Takes me a second. I'm getting there. Well, I thought it's at it's 31.
That crazy putt.
Mm-hmm. He does have a crazy putt, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he said, I heard him in an interview say he doesn't think he does that. He said that reminds me of when I used to throw like that. When I used to putt, kind of that Annie style putt, like Nate Doss. And he said,
Oh, I know why this is, because this is the back nine, Himmy.
ah,
I'm a goofball.
there you go.
Okay. This is what, okay. You want to talk about something we can all feel? And once again, this is kind of what I loved about this tournament. They kind of got the hills right. You kind of got an idea that this was not a flat course, right? So this putt right here just kind of set the tone. And I believe this is hole 2. Yeah, hole 2. So this is how he starts his day off. Kind of go, right? But then look at this roll, Himmy. Look at this roll. And
I
had it
remember
not
that.
been for these rocks, that disc is gone. And it almost
I was
jumped that.
watching. I was watching. I remember that one.
It
Are we?
almost jumped, right? So
And then
that was
here's-
one that I thought was really good. And then right here, now we're on 1042. This one right here. This is how he makes up for it. Oh,
Bang.
you know, I mean,
Yeah.
go
The
from
musket.
looking at the good, like you're going to have an easy par to bogey, right? Where is it? Let's see if I can get the other one. No, I think, yeah, that was it. Oh, got to get to commercial break real quick. And now pull up that ace. All right. So the ace is 3105. Let's see. 27, 28, 29, 30. There we go. Yeah. This hole right here is also just a beast, right? Straight shot for most. 364 feet. What are you throwing here, Himmy?
Damn, something. I guess I'd be a curl, depending on the wind. 364. I mean, it could be.
So he parks
It's
it.
down. It's downhill too, I think.
This is what I'm saying. The flags. I just love the flags. Oh, what a beautiful shot, isn't that? We need more.
We
All
need
right,
more
Ricky
of that.
shoots. And then so Ricky steps up. He's like, okay, I got this. Goes more straight at it. Leaves a little left in the water.
Yeah, brutal.
So
that's-
Gossage steps up. He says, you know what? I'm going to flick this.
Mar-
384 or 364.
That's Andrew Marweed.
What do we know about that? Look at the
Bam.
crowd in the backdrop. That's what I love. Along with the fact that everybody that's on his cards just is excited. That was pretty cool to watch. I don't know
Yeah.
about you, but I really enjoyed that one moment right there. But like I said, I don't believe he had another birdie for another 8 holes after that.
Yeah.
But look at
Fair
this,
say.
a flick.
Looks like my flick.
It does. Just like
Except it goes a lot
I
further
mean,
and
air to
straight.
chains. That's quite impressive. And then I have one more on this one.
And then bam, this guy runs into him like a bull hitting a gas pump.
Now watch this. So Ricky goes OB on that hole, right? Look at this death putt. I mean, there's water behind you, downhill. I mean, come on. That's just special and fun to watch. And look at the crowd. Once again, that huge crowd back there. So Maddie's standing here going, oh my goodness, an ace. I got to get a birdie here. Bam. Steps up, nails his birdie. I mean, what a hole. Just so much fun to watch. I mean, it was, to me, watching that tournament. I mean, it was just, like I said, I enjoyed the struggle. I enjoyed watching them struggle at the same time. I don't know about you, but that's what made that event very fun for me.
Yeah, it's a course. It's not just the other thing about that course is it's lined with those rocks. Those rocks you see, those are on fairways. I mean, somebody physically picked up those rocks and made fairways, and so I haven't played the course, but it's definitely a destination course. No one's probably ever put so much work into a course as Maple Hill.
Number 1 rated course in the United States, from what I've heard. And if you want to ever make a road trip up there, I'd be willing to go up there with you.
Let's go. Let's plan it. The weather's nice right now, it looked like.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, it was also, I told my wife when I was watching them play out, when they teed off kind of a little bit earlier, I go, you see what they get to do that all Texans wish they could do right now? And she goes, well, I go, they're wearing jackets.
I know. I pointed that out too. I was like, look at that. They're hoodies. They have hoodies.
Yeah, they have hoodies and they're wearing jackets. Oh, that's awesome.
It looked cold. It looked pretty chilly.
It made me just envious is what it made me.
Yeah.
All right. So great golf over the weekend. But I want to kind of change gears, something that I had a good time with last week. I kind of love our music conversations. You and I have an affinity for music. Between us, probably seen thousands of shows at least, if not you playing in hundreds yourself. So I love music. You love music. And I like to kind of bring back some music that most of our viewers probably do know about, but those who do not know about, an album that they may missed that you think they should listen to. I've got 2 groups for you tonight. Both of these groups are your 2 of your favorite groups. But instead of having me pick between them, I'm having you pick between their litany of albums that they put out through the history of their bands. Okay. The first one we're going to put out is The Cure. Okay. I know that you're a Cure fan. I'm a huge Cure fan. Seen them 3 times. Big fan. What I'm going to ask you is I got 5 albums. Okay. Out of these 5 albums, I want you to pick one that you think the viewer should listen to and kind of give us your reasoning behind it. Now, if one of these 5 albums is one of your favorites, feel free to point that out, but I think I may have picked them. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So you only get to pick one out of these 5 albums. You have Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. You have 17 Seconds, Disintegration, Faith, and
what was
the last one? Pick,
I missed the last one.
Head on the Door.
Oh, okay.
See, I don't know how far back you go with them, but I go pretty far back. I go to the early 80s. And I know that you kind of had that movement in that time frame as well. But I don't know did I miss one of your favorites on there? Is there something that you would have added? And if not, which one of these 5 would you tell somebody they need to listen to since they were a big Cure fan?
Well, they missed Faith, probably. That's a dark one. That's probably my favorite one. That's the one that kind of got me into them. Disintegration. It's a toss up between those 2. Yeah, I got to go with Faith.
Faith.
Yeah. Okay. It's just it's a moody thing, and that's what the music that I enjoy most is usually kind of moody. And I know the Cure, they do the bright poppy stuff really good, like Kiss Me, Kiss Me. That whole album was like, it should have been considered crappy, but it was just so well done. They jumped into the pop world on that album, I think. And I think that's where Friday I'm in Love came from. I'm not sure all the songs. I'm just thinking of Moods. I think Disintegration is probably their best, probably their White Album.
That's
That's the
funny you say
one.
that. That's exactly how I feel, except for
Yeah.
my second favorite is Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. And if I'm going to tell anybody to listen to a Cure album, that's the one I
Yeah.
want them to listen to. But if I have to be honest as a Cure fan, which album I think that's best from front to end is Disintegration.
Yeah.
And I got
I'll
to see
second that.
both of those shows. I got to see Disintegration at the Summit, and I got to see Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me at the Houston Arena, or Houston Hall, which is now down. It's that place downtown. The Arrows used to play at it. Arrows hockey.
Mhm.
They used to play there, but I got to see that show down there with Ashley, and I just Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me live was amazing. But so was Disintegration. But I did get to see them at Numbers when they played Head on the Door. So that was my introduction to them, was Head on the Door at Numbers with about 500 people. The other two were obviously, more Coliseum basketball arena style. But I agree with you. That Disintegration probably is their best album, but I just love Kiss Me, Kiss Me, because it, to me, that's kind of funny. You said it was poppy. I kind of felt like it was dark, especially Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. That song alone to me,
Yeah, that's true.
dark.
It gets pretty weird. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah,
It does a little
I'm
bit.
gonna
Now,
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to all of these. I've been needing some new music in the last few days.
well, I'm fairly sure this next band, you're not going to have to go back and listen to them, because I'm fairly sure you continue to listen to them to this day, because they are one of my favorite bands. Only got to see them live one time, and that was with Elizabeth. Got to take her to the show, and it was at the Woodlands. But second band on tap is Radiohead. Now, let's see if I pick the 5 albums, at least one of them that you would consider your favorite. We'll start off with OK Computer Head, Kid A, Hell to the Thief, my favorite, The Bends, and Rainbows. Did I catch your favorite album of theirs? If not, which one would it be?
Let's see what am I listening to lately.
Remember, it's OK Computer Head, Kid A, Hell to the Thief, The Bends, and Rainbows.
Definitely In Rainbows for me.
Wow, I would not have thought that one.
Yeah,
I think it's a great album.
Yeah, it's just not as Morrissey-ish.
Come on now. Come
You
on
know what
now.
I'm saying? Like, the thing that people don't like about Radiohead is how the lead singer, I don't even know his name.
Tom York.
Tom York. Thank you. How he uses his voice as an instrument. And it can get kind of whiny. It can, like, this is what I noticed when driving people around. I got to be leery of Radiohead. It's like, I got to kind of know they're going to be into Radiohead, because and it's Tom York. The rest of it is just, brilliant, classical, amazing textures of music, and then Tom comes in and just sort of puts that, I don't know what it is, that lead singer sound. I don't know.
Okay, so you like Rainbows. So what would
In
you
Rainbows,
consider their White Album?
I obsessed on it. And there's a part 2 of In Rainbows. It's just as great. And both of those two is probably would be a good guess when I was wearing headphones playing disc golf. It was probably one of those albums.
Would you consider that to be their White Album? Because I don't.
No, I think it's probably Kid A. I mean, no, it's probably OK Computer.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. OK Computer. Now, I love Kid A. I mean, I think that's just I thought that's who I thought you were going to pick, was Kid A. I did think that you would think that OK Computer Head was their White Album, but that's Rainbows. It's a great album.
It's a groove
it is
thing,
definitely on the other.
It's just a groove thing. I don't know what it is. It's just kind of cohesive to me. It's just when I first heard it, I was doing a paint job by myself at this big house and for weeks. And I listened to it every day, all day long, every day. I wore that one out, and it still sounds fresh, every time I hear it. As the drummer, it's the bass player, it's the whole production, it's everything. It's the way it's put together that keep me there.
Yeah. See, my favorite though is the bends. And once again, that has more to do with timing, when I heard it, where I was. Plastic Trees is just probably one of my favorite songs that they sing, because it reminds me of my grandmother Edie. So it just has a special place in my heart, along with the fact that it was probably their first coming out album where we here in America knew who finally they were, right? Creep, which is their number one hit, I would say, that they've ever played. Not my favorite song, good song, but it's kind of caught the America by storm. What was that, like 90, maybe 91-ish, somewhere around there?
Yep.
I think. But yeah, two great bands. So to wrap it up, Hemi tells you need to go listen to Rainbows.
In Rainbows, part 1 and part 2, and listen to In Rainbows for a month every day for about 6 hours. And then find the part 2. Yeah, and then find the part 2. That's great disc golf music. Yeah, go for it. And then
wrap it up with The Cure.
Disintegration. Go that. And then when you get tired of that one, go on to
Faith.
Yeah. The dark. For me, it's dark. It's real stark. There's not a lot of instrumentation on that album.
And I'll go straight to Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, then to Disintegration, just two classic albums, and then Head on the Door, another one. But once again, that's kind of a timing thing, right? It's when you're standing there, feet from somebody, seeing something you've really never seen before. Because if no one remembers what Robert Smith looked like when he was young, he had hair that made a fro jealous in the 70s. I mean, he would just kind of really wear it out there. And then didn't have a lot of movement during his shows, but didn't need to. The music spoke for itself. The lighting was always spectacular. The sound was amazing. And the moods that they would set were just incredible. That's why I love The Cure. It wasn't so much that you had this front man that was a rock star. There's bands for that, but that wasn't one of them. And the same thing with the Radiohead. I think we're kind of saying the same thing with both of them. Great writers, wonderful minds, very interesting voices, but not necessarily someone who's going to run around jumping off the speaker.
Right. It's not a Bono experience.
Yeah. You're not.
He's not working
the Chris
crowd.
Cornell.
Yeah. He's just working the music. He's not really working the crowd.
Exactly.
That was kind of an 80s thing too. There was a lot of bands. The Cars were like that.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of boring bands to go see.
The Church, one of my favorite
like
bands.
That.
When I told you, when I saw them, they stood in a crescent moon, and the lead guitarist would take about 3 steps up during one of the great parts of the song, and he'd take his 3 steps back and sit, and they just played in it. This was at Numbers as well, just this crescent moon. And I remember, I walked out going, I love their music, but it was just like there was no, I don't know. At that time, sometimes I wanted to go see Zach De La Rocha again, like Rage Against the Machine, where it's just like, but that music didn't set up for it. And he didn't want to be the front guy singing a bunch of lullabies either. So, I mean, it was, love songs or angst or whatever things that he was singing about. But I thought the same thing with Church. You're right. The 80s did, other than the hair bands, did kind of give us the more stoic,
more subdued. Stoic rockers.
Yeah. Dave Matthews I told you, he was another one who's kind of like that. 2.5 hours standing behind the mic, maybe jerking his knee up and down every once in a while. And that was about it.
Not talking in between songs too. That was another one. You sort of segue the song. You don't really give any backstories, which was kind of a cool thing to do in the 80s, 90s, early 90s.
Yeah. That 5-minute explanation.
Yeah.
Well, this song's about riding the train after show one time. You're like, God almighty. Come on, man.
Hey, well, here's what I was feeling when I wrote this song.
Right.
Like nobody really wants to hear that, but
I was-
you do. But no, there's that too. They're great showmen like Robin Hitchcock. Half of the reason you go to watch him is what he says in between his songs. It's like a
How about Fishbone?
fish. Oh,
Even
yeah.
at the age of 60. I mean, that guy was, and I told you beforehand, he was one of the most active because it was like punk funk. And so he was just so all over the place. And I mean, he still was all over the place. I mean, I was just like, okay, you go. I mean, my
He was the
goodness,
highlight. He was the highlight for me of that show, and just Fishbone in general, just the whole vibe.
yeah, I loved introducing people to bands like that I never got to see them live before. I know you knew who they were. But,
Toadies are coming to the House of Blues.
who is?
Toadies.
Are they? My friend used to do their shirts.
That's a great band.
From
I don't
Man
know
or
if
God. They're from Dallas, right?
Yeah, I think so. Fort Worth.
Yeah, I've met them a few times. Some of the bands that I knew opened up for them in Dallas. Nice guys too.
Yeah, amazing band. One of my favorites. So yeah, put that on your schedule. Maybe we'll go check that out.
That
House
sounds
of Blues.
good. I'm all about that.
I'll be wearing a mask.
Wear a mask. Don't pass out. Other than that, you'll be just fine, right?
Yeah.
All right. Before we go, let's talk about that wonderful event they had here at Spring Valley with the Wildflower Tour, and our old co-host mate Chrissy Fountain, and wonderful job they did. How many participants did they have again?
74.
74. All divisions filled. I know Miss Tammy Coffee won it. Miss Lone Star won it. Dominique.
Congrats, Tammy.
Yeah.
Dominique, Andy
Young. Stephanie Vincent ended up taking the FPO, if I'm not mistaken, correct? I think Chrissy got 4th or 5th in that. Then you had
tied 3rd.
She got 3rd, and then you had Nikki got 9th. But just the participation was amazing all the way down. I mean, you look at their FA4 division, I still think they had nearly 18 ladies playing in that division as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing turnout.
But it was just nice to see. It really is nice to see that tournament is doing so well this year. Can't wait to see what they do next year. And of course, they've got that A tier, right? They got the A tier next year, which is going to be amazing.
Right on.
Yep.
Good job, Chrissy.
Yeah. Excellent job. Excellent job. Hope to see Meredith back out on the course. I know she was there supporting it. I saw her taking pictures and things in the background. So can't wait to see her get back out there and start playing as well.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. So you're looking forward to anything this week?
I am just busy with some work stuff. I haven't really planned any disc golf outings other than maybe a trip out to Brenham, check out a friend of mine and play I think there's a new 18-hole course there. I haven't heard anything about it, but it's kind of our meeting point. My buddy from Austin meets me there. Also ran across.
Which buddy?
Hector.
Hector.
You know Hector.
Okay.
Yeah. Hector. So
When
yeah.
are you going to go out there? Do you know?
I think next Thursday.
Okay.
We're waiting on weather.
All right. Well, it should be beautiful.
We're waiting on some fall weather in the mid 90s.
You better catch it quick because fall in Houston lasts for about 2 to 3 days. That's about it. That's all you get.
And then the state shuts down and
water
pipes freeze.
No, that's not true. We have a long fall. Usually it's the winter that's really short.
Yeah.
But yeah. If you go up there, you need somebody to ride along with you.
All right.
Especially
Definitely.
if it's on a Thursday.
Yeah, I think it might be. I have to check my schedule, check his schedule.
Sounds good.
All right, man.
All right, my friend. Well, that was fun. I've
Yeah.
always loved to hear your music information. least I get to pull out some, I know, bands that you enjoy. And that's the neat thing. Cause these bands, a lot of people don't remember.
Well, good luck next week. Cause I think you've got all the 5 bands that I'm familiar with.
Oh no, I got some others in my back pocket. I'm already thinking about.
Okay.
Because I've ridden in the car with you and listened to music that you like.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I've got a few others.
All right.
And they'll be stretching our audience's knowledge of music, that's for sure.
Right on.
All right. Well, my friend, it's been fun. And if you feel like getting out tomorrow, the next day, let's go. I know that you're probably going to be doing some early rides and stuff like that. But if you feel like getting out, I know I'm going to want to.
Okay.
Oh, I got to give a shout out to Jordan Kessner, man. Sorry. That was awesome. We went and played the other day. Jordan decided to throw his disc over into the water, into the area that you shouldn't, right? Bunch of trees down, everything. So he's about down there looking. Next thing I know, as I hear this, wow, screaming like somebody's killing somebody, right? And I'm thinking snake, something's down there because he's down there in the woods, right? He comes running up. He had put his hand on the log. And when he put his hand on the log, 2 hornets bit him.
Oof.
One right after the other, like pow, pow, right on the bottom of the hand. And I was like, and he had already been having problems with his sciatica for like the first 4 holes. Then he gets bit in the hand. And I was like, oh, man. It was all he could do to finish the round. And I do appreciate you doing that. And I know Treg does as well. But, man, he put his hand right there, just
ouch,
bit him twice. So that was one. And then another hand incident on Sunday, my ride up to Shawshank, Mr. Bowen, he decides to throw a disc on hole 22, the one that goes up the hill on at Shawshank. You know the hill, you know what I'm talking about, right for the last hole. Okay. So he goes to throw, loses his balance, and you know what's in front of that box, right? There's
like
a lot of small rocks and stuff. So John falls on it and rips all the skin from like right here in his hand, his throwing hand.
Oh,
that was
man.
The first round. He had to play 2 rounds.
Slinging blood the whole round.
Man. I mean, but you know, it's like, so you and I play football. You know what a carpet burn is. You know what a turf burn is. That's what it looked like. Just turf burn on the palm of his hand. Ouch. Right in that crease too, where the thumb is. It was just like, really, of all places to get it, right there and on your throwing hand as well. So, and shout out to both of them. I reached out to both of them today to make sure that they were okay. They're both healing. Jordan said his hand's blown up like a big old balloon, but the pain has gone down, so he's on the better side. And John said it's finally starting to scab up. So tell you what, but that getting bit by those hornets, Jordan's face, he was so mad. He was so mad. And you couldn't say anything, right? So there's like 4 or 5 holes where you're just like,
such a nice guy, it's funny to see him get angry. I experienced that last week when we were at Spring Valley. I was like, it's funny to see Jordan getting mad.
Oh, those 3 get competitive. He's
very competitive. Yeah.
When those 3 get all competitive, it is just...
Hey, that made me think of something. I'll finish out with you posted a meme that said care less, and I thought it was funny because I was talking to my buddy about that. It's like, is it could care less or couldn't care less?
It depends on the context in which you're saying it, and typically you're right, it's couldn't care less. However, in the context of that care less, that was our doubles theme on Sunday. Mikey, myself, and the 2 other gentlemen, Nathan, and I'll think of the guy's name in just a second. Big dude, good player too. Anyway, doubles is one of those things to where you're trying to be less stressed, right? So they were like, care less, just care less for your putts, for all your shots. And what's funny is, Hemi, it worked out amazingly. And I wish Mikey was here to tell you the story, but hole 11, the one after the downhill at Shawshank, hole 11 that kind of goes back into the woods before you go back up.
Tunnel
Mikey
shot.
and I both, I hit woods kind of left. He hits woods left, but it bounces kind of just left of the fairway, about 10 feet out. But we're about 110 feet out. And I've changed my putting, as you could see, and I've kind of done that slow fast that you're talking about. Himmy, I threw one in from about 110 feet, beeline straight, as if I was throwing it to you, like we were playing catch. Turn around, Mikey was like, "You see, just care less." And then I hit another about 55 footer. I mean, my putting was just like, of all the things, and most people who play with me understand that's typically not my strong suit, but something has just changed in my putting. That release with your hands to the basket that you were telling me about, that slow to fast that we were talking about, that red light, green light, all those things have really come into really changing my overall putting. And I'm not missing as many 10 footers and 12 footers that typically give me a lot of grief. And it's more because that slow to fast, hand to chain, get that forward motion. So it's just really paid off dividends.
Yeah, now having some Mikey Jedi stuff to go along with it is going to help. And I loved it. When I saw Care Less, it made me think, it's like, what is he trying to say there? And then I was like, yeah, I get that. I kind of understood it from that, because I thought you were talking about my game or where I'm at with disc golf or whatever. Because I'm but then I thought it's a good approach actually to the game, and that's what you saw with Matt Oram. He looks like he could care less. When you look at him, his glasses are falling off, and he's pointing at everybody.
That is funny. You're right. I'd noticed that too. His glasses are all
carefree, man.
Yeah, that's funny you said that.
Yeah, he's very careless, and it shows. And maybe that's a knock. Maybe that's why he didn't win all those years. But that's not true. He's won. He just hasn't won the big ones. But he's always been a winner. He's always been a force since I first saw him, when he was a kid. Kansas City, I saw him playing at Waterworks, and he was already kind of like Nico, who's already the thing, or Ulibarri, or he had kind of a reputation already. But to see him out there being that character, it's just good for the sport. It's crazy. Good weekend.
It was enthralling entertainment to watch, right? This was the one tournament, not that some of them haven't been, but this one really was one of those that had me interested, because I knew that back nine was tough. I knew that back nine, that just because somebody had a 2-stroke lead didn't mean a thing. And that's what made it exciting, because some of these tournaments, sometimes these guys get 2 and 3 up and it's over, right? But on that back nine, there was just no way. It was just so exciting. It was exciting in the ladies as well. I mean, to see Elaine King win was just amazing. And to see Tatar, become human, because oftentimes when I watch her play, I hate to say that, but it sounds like she's just a machine. I mean, she's so on point, and even when she's not on point, it's just barely off point. And to see that happen, it was just like, my mouth dropped, and I was like, wow. But also what I loved Hemi was also how many people were there for the ladies. Once again, it looked like there were more for the FPO than there were for the MPO. And there were a lot for the MPO.
I noticed that. Yeah,
I just love it. I love to see that support.
Yes, sir. Good stuff.
All right, my friend. Well, let's get out and go throw some disc in the air in the next couple of days. All right.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, man. Well, go fling it, bruh.
just fling it, bruh.
Just fling it, bruh.
All
go
right.
throw something in the air, my friends. Y'all have a good night. Peace, Emmy. Mikey, rolling over, my friend. keep that rolling. Till next week, guys. Good night.